You can make your program decide on which code to run. This is with the use of conditional statements, which has this syntax. If, condition, open and closing curly braces, then else. To illustrate, let's create a simple program that identifies if a number is odd or even. Let's create a new class and name it Conditional Statement. Then add this line of code here. Let's plan first on how our program will look like. So first, ask the user to input a number. And then identify if number has remainder. If none, number is even, and odd otherwise. We will use remainder or modulo symbol to determine the remainder of a number. Print out result. So let's get coding. First, we let the user know what to input. Then accept the input and assign it to number variable. Oops, we need to import and instantiate scanner class first. So again, since this is integer values, we need to use nextInt method. Now, to identify if number is even, we write if number modulo 2 equal to 0. Then print number is even. Else, print number is odd. Let's run the file and test the program. Let's test multiple times to make sure our program is correct. Again, in programming, we use this percentage symbol and is called modulo or modulus to get the remainder or a number divided by a certain number, which is in our program is 2. For example, 4 divided 2 is 2, remainder 0. Or 3 divided 2 is 1, remainder 1. Or 89 divided 2 is 44, remainder 1. Or 100 divided 2 is 50, remainder 0. What have you noticed? Yes, all even numbers have 0 remainder, and odd is 1. Let's have another example. Let's create a mini quiz program. So the quiz has 3 questions, and then the program should identify if the user's answer is correct or wrong. And then the final score should be printed out. Let's create another class and name it Mini Quiz Conditional Statement. Then add the public main code inside. So our plan is to ask the first question, and then get user answer and assign to a variable, and then trace the score, repeat steps 1 to 3 twice, and then output the result. Now let's start coding. So type the first question, and assign it to variable answer 1. Again, I forgot to import an instantiate scanner class. So add these lines of code first. Next is to trace the score. Before we trace it, we should add a code to identify if the answer of the user is correct. So we will need a conditional statement. So if, then the condition is answer 1 that equals ignore case, NetBeans IDE. Then inside the if block, score plus plus. So here we declared score variable that is initialized to 0. Equals ignore case is a method from the string class where you can compare two strings ignoring their cases. Like if you have a code with small letters and code with capital letters, we all know that in Java programming, these two words are not equal, even if they are the same word. Why? Because again, Java is case sensitive. But if you will use the method equalsIgnoreCase, code small letter and code capital letter will derive to true. We can simply understand this method by saying, if the value of answer 1 is equal to NetBeans IDE and ignore the case, then score plus plus. This plus plus is called increment. This is equivalent to score equals to score plus 1. To make shorthand version, we increment score, which is score plus plus or score plus 1. So if the condition here derives to true, that is, if the answer 1 value is equal to NetBeans IDE, then score will have 1 as a value. If the answer is wrong, or the condition derives to false, then nothing happens. Score will still be at 0. You see, else is optional by default, but it's necessary oftentimes to create a user-friendly program. So copy and paste this line of codes twice and change the variable names and questions like this. You can change the question answers if desired. Now, let's go to the last step, which is to print out the result. Type this. It's time to run our program. As you can see, after I answered the second question, it printed the score and terminated the program. What do you think is the problem? Yes, you're right. This time, we use next method, where in fact, we should be using the next line. Why? Because our answers are composed of spaces, and next can't handle it. So we need next line for this. Let's edit the program. And rerun. Let's test first if we have wrong answer. Yes, it's working. Let's try to make our program friendlier. Let's add else clause. As you have noticed, when we type wrong answers to each of the questions, we as users don't know if our answers are correct or wrong. There's no feedback. So let's add print here stating the answer is correct and else incorrect. Do this for all three questions. Again, if the answer is correct or this condition derives to true, then this statement will execute. If not, this else here will run. Let's test it again. Let's answer this correctly. When we press the enter key, we now have the feedback here. Next question. Let's enter a wrong answer. See, another feedback. Last one, let's answer with space, then the Java word. What happened? In Java, spaces are included in a string, so space Java is not equal to Java. That's why we have that as wrong. To fix this, string class has trim method, which eliminates the leading and trailing spaces. So let's edit our program and apply this method. Answer 1 that trim that equals ignore case NetBeans IDE. This means we wanted Java to trim first the string answer 1 and then compare it to another string, which is in this case is NetBeans IDE. So for example, your answer 1 has value of space Java. It will become Java after the trim method. So apply it to all of the if conditions. And once done, rerun your program. Another problem is I deleted the increment in the second and third if. Sorry for that. So let's add this code and test again. If you have questions and clarifications, please comment it down below. Thank you all for watching. Have a good day.